You're on Event TV in the thick of it with Sammi, and today I'm really excited because I'm joined by the Status Consortium, and we're going to be talking all about Status, which is part of the cultural program for AIDS 2014. Michelle Barber, one of the executive producers of Status. Now, Status is just not only just such an important piece, but it covers such a very, very important message, doesn't it?
Throughout the development of the process, we've interviewed quite a large array of people, and the common theme that we found, the strongest theme was stigma. And stigma has impacted everybody that we've spoken to in so many different ways, whether it's from a family member or someone that was caring for them, or like a massive variety's probably not the right word, but a massive array of stories, and the theme is stigma for everybody. And I think that's what's kind of brought the producers together, is that maybe we hadn't anticipated that the stigma would be the thing that touched us the most. And it's probably what's brought us together as well, because it's been emotional to the word journey gets used a lot, but I think because it's been emotional for us all, it's brought us very, very close together. It's quite a unique working environment for the three of us. And
we talk about, we go through the different journeys of this learned experience, and it does show very distinctively about how HIV has touched so many people's lives.
And I think we've been surprised at the way it's touched people's lives. We've heard stories of people that, without it wanting to sound flip, but their lives have been better because of it. And they've HIV has been we've learnt so much about HIV ourselves as well. And the people have been very frank and honest and shared so much of themselves. It feels like a bit of an honour in a strange way to be able to present a piece like this for the world. And that sounds like a kind of a big statement to make, but we feel like there's a lot of weight on our shoulders as well in portraying it's presenting their real stories.
And that's the difference with this particular piece as well, is the way that it's actually done. I'm going to have a little bit of a chat to Stephen and Cameron now, because I'm surprised that they've managed to stay quiet the whole time we've been talking. And we're going to have a little bit of a talk to Stephen, a little bit about the importance of being involved with AIDS 2014. Stephen Barber, another of the executive producers of Status. Now, Stephen, when we were talking to Michelle, she was speaking about how stigma is just such an important part of this piece. How does this particularly speak to you?
Yeah, for me, it's about, we use stigma to generalise people. We put people in pigeonholes with stigma, and it's really a human condition. We use it in so many ways. We actually use it to condition our children, and we try to actually tell them that, you shouldn't do this because society will judge you, and yet we become confused when people use stigma in other ways to prejudge.
And I think that's one of the things why this piece is so important, is it actually shows that while this particular piece does talk about the stigma associated with people living with and surrounded by HIV, that it can be taken, the message can be taken so many different ways that people can take out into their lives as well.
Yeah, look, the whole aim of our project is to create a positive conversation around HIV, to help break down the barriers and remove the stigma and the mystery surrounding HIV and the people living with it.
And of course that then as a society helps us move forward and with more acceptance. Now, one of the great things about this is just so fabulous that Status is in the cultural program for AIDS 2014, and pretty much it is the only theatrical piece in the CBD.
It is indeed, yes. We're very proudly affiliated with the main conference, but look, none of this would be possible without the support of the key bodies and health organisations involved in people living with HIV.
And it is so amazing that this cultural event is part of AIDS 2014 and is such an important piece as well. Definitely.
We believe that there's a message out there. We need to start the conversation surrounding HIV, and we believe that moving forward and beyond 2014, Status is the vehicle to actually take that conversation on.
Wonderful, and we're going to get into it now with Cameron, all about the actual production. Now, people normally say you save the best for last, and in this case, I think that I have. Cameron Menzies, executive producer and director of this amazing piece. Now, where is the production being held?
Well, we are very, very lucky to be in Victoria's premier arts venue. So we're part of the Arts Centre Melbourne in the Fairfax studio.
Oh, what an amazing venue.
I know. It's really special to be, really under that massive spire that everyone walks past every day, probably pretty much. And it's such a beautiful venue, and it's what I like about it is it has an intimacy in the Fairfax studio that is really hard to find in venues in Melbourne.
And I think that's one thing with this piece is it is a very intimate production, isn't it?
It is. That's how it's intended. Look, it's very real. It is real life stories of people. We have interviewed probably about just over 40 hours of interviews that were taken. And then from that we transcribed, and from that then the script was created. So we have all these real life stories of people's experience with an HIV diagnosis. We interviewed HIV positive men, women, lovers, friends, negative people, medical professionals, carers, everyone that we could sort of find, because we wanted to take a look at stigma through HIV, but from a very global and human responsibility, definitely not as a sexuality issue. And,
when we talk about a theatre production, the difference with this piece is, we talked about it, this is actually verbatim theatre. So explain to me a little bit more about how that is.
Well, verbatim theatre is essentially just interviewing people and then writing a piece from their content. However, we decided to take verbatim very, very strictly. So some verbatim theatre is based on interviews. This is really how we were told it, and word for word of the interviews. So this is really truly how it came out of the mouths of the people that so bravely came and spoke to us about their lives. And in that way, I think you capture the real tempo of everyone's speech. And we have very different ages, and we have different sexualities and different ethnic groups and all that sort of stuff. But it's you capture the tempo of someone through how they speak, and the words that they actually choose to use is very definitive of someone, and that's what I think comes through very clearly in verbatim theatre.
And particularly, it's very exciting because you've just started rehearsals.
We have today.
Wow.
I know, the Band-Aid's been ripped off.
Well and truly.
Yes.
Now, with this as well, even though you have such a plethora of stories, it's being told by 4 actors, 2 male and 2 female, but also the actors aren't actually speaking of the pieces which relate to their gender.
Not necessarily. Look, some speeches have been given, it's sort of sexless in some ways. It's sort of what qualities the actor could bring to it. We do have 2 men and 2 women in the cast, and we have an older actress and a younger actress, and an older male and a younger male actor, and we have such scope and such variety that those 4 people really have to change from almost person to person and from story to story. But it was about not necessarily putting the same sex into the same actor. It was about finding the quality that they actually could bring to a piece.
Wow, it's very exciting. I can't wait for this production. So where do we go to get tickets for?
We're on at the Arts Centre, so it's artcentermelbourne.com.au.
And to find out more information about Status?
Is statustheplay.com.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. So you can go and see Status the Play, part of the cultural program for AIDS 2014. You've been with Sammi in the thick of it on Bent TV.